Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and I am here, as always, with Tyler Bevel and our producer, Mitchell Bird.
Hello.
And today we're going to release our PPR Superflex Dynasty rankings to you, the public. Tyler and I will go back and forth a little bit on some positional ranking differences here, I'm sure. Excited for that. You can find our rankings via the link in the description and on our Twitter. That was a fun process, Ty, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what some of those folks out there might think. I'm sure they'll let us know.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. But hey, before we get going, we got a good top 3 list today.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, we're not going to start with you today.
Oh, well. Okay.
We're going to change it up. We're going to start with Mitchell. Ooh. Mitchell!
Yes.
Top 3 PS1 games.
This is a good list. Pure nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure.
I can make this quick for you. Metal Gear Solid 1. Mm-hmm. Twisted Metal 3. And Siphon Filter.
Yeah, they're all great games. This is we talk about we need like a deeper list. Again, like how do you... like the games that I had to leave off.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What was your one again?
My number 1 is Metal Gear Solid 1.
Snake?
Well, that has to have been like when it was released, the most popular game. Like the effect that it had in the gaming world.
It was
like,
so
oh
good.
my God, this game is massive. And then like it turned into like a whole franchise after that. Yeah, that was a biggie. I spent a lot of time. I have, unfortunately, I kind of missed the boat a little bit on Metal Gear Solid.
It's not too late.
You know, it really isn't. What I did not miss the boat on, though, is Twisted Metal. Played a ton of Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
And I will to this. Yeah, man, that was a great game. I always liked, Spectre?
Yeah.
That was now this is going to test my memory here, but that Spectre was a Viper in 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Blue, white,
Yeah.
white
Blue with
stripes.
white racing stripes.
Yeah, I also liked,
I was a roadkill guy myself.
yep, Roadkill. He was another one. You know who the dumbest character ever, and I will, stupid character. That Axel, like the dude with the giant. Yeah. This is the worst. Who uses him?
He was the last player I beat the game with. I ended up beating it with every.
So you beat it with the granny and the monster.
Oh yes, I sure.
Yeah, nice, dude. Nice. Sweet Tooth is always fun to use too. I mean, come on, man.
His special attack was just awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Not a big fan of Mr. Grimm either. Just kind of. I mean,
that was a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty. It was essentially a Ghost Rider ripoff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of him. Huge fan of Siphon Filter. Great game. Awesome game.
A lot of hours on that game.
Oh, same, man. Same. Ty, how about you? What's your top 3?
My top 3, I'm going to go Resident Evil 2. My number 1. This has got to be almost my all-time favorite game. Silent Hill. Silent Hill's funny. Like, me and my mom used to play Silent Hill a lot together.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like, we just sit there, like, rain days. Mom would come out, she'd be like, well, guess it's a Silent Hill day. And, like, cause she liked them games, like the puzzles and stuff. But we played a lot of that together. And another game that I played a lot with just a lot of different people growing up, spent more hours than I'm ever willing to admit on, is the original NFL Blitz with Cordell Stewart on the cover holding his arms out. Like, just
very nice. So
many hours into that game.
I love what they did on PS2 with Blitz the League.
Yeah, those are fun games.
That game was so much fun.
Yeah.
like
The graphics.
Juicing up your players.
The original Blitz, though, even like just being able to hit your buddies like after the play, like they make a big play and you just take them out.
Yeah, it's great. That's a good list too. So I also have a Resident Evil one on mine.
Gotcha.
So my top 3 is number 1 is Resident Evil Director's Cut.
Great game.
Game blew my mind at the fresh, ripe age of 13. I didn't like from Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong's Quest to that. Like, what are we doing? Parasite Eve is my 2.
Super underrated.
Yep.
Great game.
It was the first double disc game I had.
Yeah.
And then Siphon Filter, like Mitchell. So,
Siphon Filter gets 2
votes.
top 3. That's great.
Ain't that something?
Good for Gabriel Logan. Yeah, well, yeah, Resident Evil 1 and 2.
It just missed my PlayStation 1 list. We'll see if we visit a future list.
Any honorable mentions for people?
Game Day 98.
Game Day 98. I know you said something about Game Day 2, right, Mitchell?
Game Day 98.
Yeah.
But I had more time on Madden 2000 on PlayStation 1 just because that's what we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just couldn't. I was my mind was blown when I first started playing that. I'm like, look at these graphics. I go back and I look at them now, and it's like, it's horrible. It's all pixely.
I still love it. Like, I still go back and play those old games on, like, I have my old consoles. I still go back and play them.
Yeah.
I just love it. I don't know if it's the nostalgia of it. Tomb Raider, I'd have to give an honorable mention to. And one more, just because, like, we've covered a lot of the games that, you know, were those ones that just grabbed a hold of you. But Gran Turismo 2.
Oh,
I put a pile of hours.
Did you? I wasn't a big Gran Turismo guy.
I loved it.
I would have to agree. Probably Resident Evil 2 might be the better. But for me, it's just like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, man. And
you
like,
were hooked from the first zombie in that hallway until they dropped the grenade launcher, so you take out the tyrant at the end. Just hooked on it. I get it.
It was just incredible. My mind was blown right out of my ear holes. I just could not believe what I was playing. It was just awesome. And then the franchise took off from there, and I will die on the hill of Resident Evil 4 is the best one ever.
It's great.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into some rankings, Ty.
Let's do it.
I say we start with quarterback here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. So we'll go 5 at a time. My top 5, your top 5. If we find some discrepancies and things that are noteworthy to talk about, we will do that. Remember, you have ways to see these, and we will remind you again at the end of the episode. So let's go ahead and start with quarterback. My top 5, and this is, again, Superflex Dynasty, PPR. Pat Mahomes is 1. My QB2 is Josh Allen. My QB3 is CJ Stroud. My QB4 is Jalen Hurts. And my QB5 is Caleb Williams. Over to Ty's side, his quarterback 1 is CJ Stroud. Pat Mahomes at 2. Josh Allen at 3. Jalen Hurts at 4. Lamar Jackson at 5. So Ty, CJ Stroud at 1.
Yep.
Let's hear it.
I'm all in. And he's considerably younger than Mahomes and Allen. And I know that Mahomes and Allen are going to play a long time, but I just think this Texans offense could be explosive for a long time, too.
New regime, baby.
New regime.
I can't argue this.
They're putting the weapons around him. I think they continue to put the weapons around him. We'll see when it comes contract time for CJ Stroud how that goes, because I will say that Mahomes and Allen are already in those contracts. So, and you've seen some, you know, of the, I don't want to say repercussions, but the effect of those contracts. I mean, Tyreek Hill's gone. Seems like Casey's got some receivers coming back now, though. That could be, and Josh Allen, that contract. I mean, that whole wide receiving core is wiped out, and I just think CJ Stroud, though, for the near future, next 3 or 4 years, is going to be the guy that I just think that kid's going to blow up this year, and he's my number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how you argue it. Like, you could make some little points, I suppose, if you wanted to, but nothing like earth-shattering. I mean, for me, Pat Mahomes was my 1 because it felt weird not to. And same with Josh Allen at 2. But I did have the thought cross my mind. It's like, do I want to bump Stroud? You know, like that thought did cross my mind. I just didn't do it.
And I think the biggest argument there against the Stroud being number 1 would be like, well, you know, we've seen it for years from Mahomes and Allen. We've only seen it from 1 year for Stroud, but I think he's the real deal.
Yeah. And listen, they're all our top 3, just a little different order. It's no big deal. Jalen Hurts, we both have at 4. Caleb Williams is 5 for me. Lamar Jackson, 5 for you. I don't know, man. For me, I'm not in love with like Lamar Jackson. I never really have been, and maybe I should. And it's weird because I am a fan of the running quarterback, but for some reason, like, I always avoid him. I never get him. That doesn't mean you're wrong if you do. I mean, Lamar Jackson's done some incredible things. Caleb Williams, I like him there just because it looks like Chicago is perfectly willing to go ahead and surround this kid, especially over the course of the next 5 years.
Lesson learned, right?
Yep. There's the age factor. Lamar's been beaten up, but I don't think, like, I'm not going to argue with you having Lamar Jackson at 5.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Baltimore, to their credit, has tried to surround Lamar Jackson with that talent. They're a team that does it via draft. They're not really making huge free agency signings or anything, and they just haven't hit on those guys. But, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's go from 6 to 10. So we got, for me, Joe Burrow, QB6, followed by, there's Lamar Jackson at QB7, Anthony Richardson at 8, Jordan Love at 9, Kyler Murray at 10. Jumping over to Tyler's, Joe Burrow at 6, Caleb Williams 7, Kyler Murray 8, Jordan Love 9, Anthony Richardson 10. Biggest discrepancy I see here is Anthony Richardson, right?
Yeah.
So you have him at 10, I have him at 8. So this is where, like, what I say about Lamar Jackson probably doesn't really make much sense, right? Because I have Anthony Richardson right behind him. I don't know. It's probably because it's a new toy, this brand new thing, new player. But he's fresher than Lamar, so I guess I kind of lean on him. Plus, to be fair, I do have Lamar ahead of him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like what Richardson could be. It's too hard for me not to fall in love with it. And
it's not
again,
for me.
It could be a fault thing. Like, just because, let's be honest, the running quarterback thing can be a little scary. It really can. But man, I think he's going to come around. I think the throwing's going to come around.
That's the holdup.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's why.
Do you believe the throwing can come around?
I believe it can.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like you say, the Lamar Jackson thing, and that's like the comparison that I have, because I don't think it's going to happen right away. I think, like Lamar, it's going to take time. And Jackson's career has progressed. I think he's a much better passer now than when he entered the league, obviously. And I think Anthony Richardson can accomplish those things. But the discrepancy there is, I've seen it from Jordan Love. I've seen it from Kyler Murray. So that's why those two, I guess, get the bump. Still very young. And Anthony Richardson, I need to see a little bit more. He's still high. He's still my QB 10. I think there's some awesome potential there. But yeah, a little bit lower on him than you, I guess.
And outside of Caleb Williams, we all essentially have the same. So yeah, it's we all have the same guys in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. Just some little hair splitting stuff here. So let's move on to the next group. Let's go 11 through 15 here. Let's go with my side, Justin Herbert at 11, Brock Purdy at 12, Dak Prescott at 13, Jaden Daniels at 14, Trevor Lawrence at 15. On to Ty's side, Jaden Daniels at 11, Prescott at 12, Herbert at 13, Purdy at 14, Lawrence at 15. So again, same crew, just mixed up. Justin Herbert, you have him at 13. I've got him at 11. Again, splitting some hairs. I think people are down on Herbert, and I put him there, man, because so he had a down year with a weird coach, man. I like Herbert, man. I still think he has all the time. I like him now as much as I did when he came in. I believe he's got all the, the talent is there. It's in place. Love the new head coach. I love Justin Herbert. He falls all the time, and I snag him up every chance I get.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rank him as such. How about you?
Yeah, I still like Justin Herbert. I think he definitely has a better coach now. And keeping in mind that coach was an NFL quarterback. But I don't like him as much as Dak Prescott. I like the upside more, I guess, of Jaden Daniels, just because I do feel like the Chargers are going to run the ball. I still think Herbert puts up some good seasons, but I also think some of his, maybe statistically speaking, I don't know if he gets to this that he did 2 and 3 years ago.
Okay. I have, let's see, we both have, okay, so Brock Purdy, both have him directly behind Justin Herbert. I don't know, man, I feel like Purdy belongs there. It's just, were we a spot apart on him or two?
I have him at 14.
As long as he's in that system, as long as he's with Kyle Shanahan, I'm all in. Both have Prescott in there.
Yeah, I have Prescott at 12. I think
I'm at 13. So again, it's like we're right there. Let's zip through these last few here before we move on. Quarterback 16 through 20. Tua Tagovailoa at 16, Drake May at 17, J.J. McCarthy at 18, Goff at 19, and Bryce Young at 20. That's my side. Tyler's side, we've got Goff at 16, Tua at 17, Drake May at 18, Bo Nix at 19, J.J. McCarthy at 20. So Bo Nix does not fall in my group there.
Shame.
Yeah, And that's one I'm going to have to adjust because I'm not taking Bryce Young over him. So that's just an adjustment I'm going to have to make. Listen, we ranked a lot of guys here. So around 300, I know I ranked 300 guys. So little adjustments got to be made here and there. I have gone through and made quite a few adjustments, especially in the running back column. But Bo Nix will get a bump for me, and he will be in my top 20.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll bump him from 21 up. Bryce Young will fall out. That's just a discrepancy I just happened to come across here. A lot of rookies in this chunk between May, McCarthy, and I will bump Bo Nix.
I guess I have Goff higher in that group a little bit than you. I like the security there of him being with Detroit now, and
you do have him higher, yeah.
Definitely, I like him better than Tua.
It's the away games that bug me, but it's honestly
that's a very fair.
But the away games aren't good for Tua either.
No,
so maybe that's another bump I might have to give. But I think I would rather May and McCarthy over Goff in like a startup. I mean, it depends on my first. I'm going to base that off my first couple picks. Like, where am I going? Like, what kind of build am I doing here? Am I going for it all, or am I just
right?
If I'm looking ahead, I mean, I'm going to take May or McCarthy. Especially, I like what I've been seeing out of May too, for sure. We wanted to do the top 25 at each, but I'm thinking we're probably going to have time.
Good on the quarterbacks there.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to wide receiver here. All right, my top 5 here: CeeDee Lamb at 1, Jamar Chase at 2, St. Brown at 3, Justin Jefferson at 4, Garrett Wilson at 5. Tyler side: CeeDee at 1, Chase at 2, Jefferson at 3, St. Brown at 4, Wilson at 5. So the only difference is we have a little flip-flop there of Jefferson and ARSB.
Yeah.
We're splitting hairs.
I'll take either one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like,
I do prefer St. Brown, but that's just a weird little preference. And maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe it should be Jefferson.
It's so close that I don't have much of an argument. I mean,
there's just something about ARSB I just love watching.
Yeah.
That guy is just unbelievable. Like the biggest chip on planet Earth sits atop that guy's shoulder.
He does it real smooth too.
Yeah.
Like he just.
Yeah, he's sharp. Big fan of ARSB. Let's go 6 through 10. On my side, Marvin Harrison at 6, AJ Brown at 7, Puka Nacua at 8, Tyreek Hill at 9, Drake London at 10, and on Ty's side, Marvin Harrison at 6, AJ Brown at 7, Puka Nacua at 8, Tyreek Hill at 9, Malik Neighbors at 10. So there's a difference right there.
Yep.
You know what it really is for me, man? It's just I just haven't seen Neighbors do anything yet. But I don't really have an argument because I think he's going to do great things.
Yeah.
I've seen London do some things with terrible quarterback play. It just made me go, good Lord, give him a quarterback. Please give him a quarterback. I had to put him there. I'm expecting a lot this year. I'm not expecting a ton out of Neighbors. But again, this is Dynasty. I think going forward, you're fine with London or you're fine with Neighbors there.
Yeah, I have London considerably lower than you do.
You do. You have him clear down at 17. We'll have to get on that. You can tell me why, okay? Because outside of that, like, what makes you want Neighbors at 10? Is it just like the talent this kid has is just unbelievable?
I do.
I mean, you're going to put up with the first year. And
I think after this, if something doesn't happen with Daniel Jones, the Giants have got to do something.
I don't know how you don't.
It's too long at this point, in my opinion.
What are they doing?
I have no idea.
I don't understand it.
And now you have a weapon now, like Malik Neighbors. Like, it's now or never for Daniel Jones, and get somebody that can get that guy the ball.
And it's fine that they took Neighbors, but don't you think something like Knicks would have
better for sure?
What are you guys doing
with a quarterback heavy front end of like the draft was? I would have thought for sure that the Giants would have tried to get a quarterback.
Well, you had to get a weapon for Daniel Jones.
But it's
just, I mean, that's their argument.
Maybe. Okay. I will
well,
say that the Daniel Jones hasn't had much at all to throw to.
No,
I will give him that.
Yeah, preseasons looked awesome. What is he do? Dude, it's what a mess he is. I hate it because, again, the guy has done more in his life than I could ever imagine in mine. But come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's time to move on. God dang. All right, let's go receivers 11 through 15. My side, Devonta Smith at 11, Nico Collins at 12, Malik Neighbors at 13, Chris Olave at 14, and DJ Moore at 15. On over to Ty's side, Chris Olave at 11, DJ Moore at 12, Devonta Smith at 13, Nico Collins at 14, and Rome Dunes at 15. So there's a big discrepancy for us right there. I have a Dunes down there considerably further, all the way down to 20. So yeah, Devonta Smith, I think he is just going to have an unbelievable season, and I think his career. I know he's done the 1,000-yard thing a time or two, but I just think like he's about to hit like really big.
Yeah,
and I think it's just going to carry forward like that. I think a lot of it has to do with Kellen Moore being there, and then you add Devonta's age on top of it, and the bursts that you've seen out of him over the last couple of years. I think Devonta Smith is about to just blow up, like really blow up.
Yeah.
Yards, touchdowns. I think it's going to be.
I can definitely see it.
Yeah. So I have him 1, 2, 3 spots ahead of Chris Olave. Do you have much of an argument there at all? Because you have Olave at 11 to my Devonta at 11.
I think that Olave,
doesn't have Brown in the way.
Yeah, it's not even that. I just think Olave is another one that just really, other than that first year, hasn't had a quarterback.
Sure.
And I just think there's so much talent there. And I just don't think if this Derek Carr thing doesn't pan out, they have to do something.
You would think so. Getting a little nervous about Rattler.
Maybe they did.
I'm getting a little nervous about him.
Yeah.
And it's only preseason, but man, I don't know. Like I talked about that back hitch he's got on his back foot, and it genuinely ruins the passes it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
The ball's leaving his hand. It's looking funny. It's not really in good vicinity for that receiver to be able to run after the catch. He's kind of having to come back for it or slow his route down, and it's not looking good. Again, preseason rookie. Maybe I'm way off base here.
He put a couple good drives together, though.
Yeah, he did. Watching QB Camp on YouTube, I was able to pick up a lot about him. And there's some good things, but there's a lot of not so great things. But time will tell there. This is where I have, Malik Neighbors, just 3 spots down from you. Again, not a crazy discrepancy by any stretch at all. I've got DJ Moore at 15 to your Roma Dunes at 15. Can you tell me why you've got a Dunes that much higher than me? 5 spots higher. I've got him at 20.
Yeah, I like him in that situation coming in the same year as Caleb Williams.
Bought in.
I think there's a lot of talent there. Looking at my list, like I have just your point, maybe I would move London and switch to Dunes, but like, I don't know.
He's looked good.
He has, and I think it's DJ Moore and Roma Dunes. Keenan Allen is great. Don't get me wrong. And he's going to get catches this year, but it's a 1-year contract.
And how long is he really going to make it? Is he even going to make it through the year? Like this, Dunes could hit this year quite nicely.
I think he hits this year some for sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's probably good enough for there. I mean, Nico Collins, we've got 2 spots apart. It's okay. I mean, it's essentially the same group of guys.
This group, though, like this is a group that you're like,
I love
one
that.
of these guys is gonna bust out.
Oh, I think it's Devonta Smith. I think he
not
just
multiple
has an
guys.
unbelievable year. Yeah, it's a wild group of guys. I mean, like 11 through 15, Devonta, Nico, Malik Neighbors, Chris Olave, DJ Moore.
Love it.
It's tough to rank them. All right, let's move on. 16 through 20. Going off my side first, Brandon Ayuk at 16, Zay Flowers at 17, Jalen Waddle at 18, Michael Pittman at 19, and there's my Roma Dunes at 20.
Oh, boy.
And Tyler, Jalen Waddle at 16, Drake London at 17, Brandon Ayuk at 18, Zay Flowers at 19, Michael Pittman at 20. So what's your reasoning with Drake? You think you're going to bump him up, or are you going to hold him down there?
He'll probably get a bump up. I'll be honest. We just did and this is a Dynasty ranking. We just did a redraft, and I seen London sitting there and was like, yeah, smash that. But looking at it right now, like I think you should be ahead of Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I think so, man. I really do. You going to make that adjustment then?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you're going to put him ahead of Jalen Waddle, so that's going to...
He'll probably go up to 15 for me, right behind Nico Collins.
And you'll drop O'Dunes 1?
Yeah.
I'll
drop O'Dunes 2.
And put Waddle at 17?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I think we have time to bump 20 through 25, or 21 through 25.
Yeah,
right?
Let's do it.
All right. 20 through 25. 21 through 25, sorry. My side, T. Higgins at 21, Tank Dell at 22, Xavier Worthy at 23, George Pickens at 24, and one of my breakouts at 25, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Ty's side, we've got at 21, DK Metcalf, followed by George Pickens at 22, T. Higgins at 23, Tank Dell at 24, Jordan Addison at 25. Addison, I've got at 27, so we're not real far off there.
Where are you at with Metcalf?
Where am I at with Metcalf?
Yeah.
You want to hear that, don't you?
I do.
He's down there. He's at 28, below Jordan Addison. And Deebo Samuel just ahead of Rashee Rice and Jaden Reed. I wasn't too hard on him. I mean, I don't know, man. I can't come around to him, man. I just can't do it.
I went back and forth when I was doing this because my thing with DJ is that I don't like him in fantasy leagues because of how, or DK, not DJ, I'm sorry, DK. My thing with DK is that he's so boom or bust, it seems, in a lot of, when I'm doing these rankings, those numbers will be there at the end of the year.
They will.
One way or another.
Yep.
And it's not a way that I like to have on my team.
Nope.
But I still think he's going to have better numbers at the end of the year than Tank Dell, than Jordan Addison, than probably T. Higgins even.
When I looked at this, and because I ran into DK Metcalf, and I'm like, what am I going to do here? I literally just started looking at players that I would prefer to have over him in Dynasty, and I put all the points aside.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
So if you look at the guys that I'd rather have ahead of him, I would definitely rather have Addison. And a lot of people would argue, but give me Deebo over him. Give me Jackson Smith and Jigba over him. Give me Pickens with his longevity over him. Xavier Worthy, Tank Dell, T. Higgins. Like, I want all those guys over DK Metcalf for different reasons.
I think the hype is real on George Pickens this year.
Very well could be.
I think it is.
I traded him in a 16-man league. I hope that I don't bite me. Yeah, the big 16, I traded him.
Did you?
Yeah, but I gave him and Spencer Rattler to a very needy team who's trying to rebuild, and I got DJ Moore.
Nice.
At 60 cents on a $30 cap, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
DJ Moore. It's hard to argue with the DJ Moore, but I do think Pickens blows up.
Yeah.
T. Higgins, I think, is going to have an awesome year.
I like him a lot, and I do too.
But I think if T. Higgins gets on another team, he's
Bingo.
wide receiver 1.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm waiting for.
And he's jumping up this list.
Yeah, so it's just simply, as far back to the Metcalf thing, it's just guys that, like, if I'm sitting there doing a startup draft, they're just guys that I want over him, like, for a multitude of reasons. Deebo wouldn't be an age reason, but Smith and Jigba sure would. Pickens sure would. Tank Dell sure would. Worthy, I mean, they're all essentially because of age and the talent that I've already seen out of them.
Right.
Do we have any? Where do you have? So you have Jackson Smith and Jigba at 30, and I've got him at 25. It's a 5-spot difference. My assumption for his breakout definitely aided in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he does have a true breakout this year, like, somebody's gone, man, and he's the 2. Somebody's going to be gone out of there. You agree with that?
Well, I think Metcalf goes. I don't think that he's a Seattle Seahawk next year.
Really?
No.
Is next year when they're going to have to pay big?
I think his contract's coming, or he already has. I don't know the details of his contract situation, but I just don't think that he's there next year.
Okay. All right. And let's see, we've gotten all the way down to, that's probably enough for, let me make sure there's not any more. You have Xavier Worthy at 29 to my 23. That's just, dude, I can't help it. Tied to Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid's offense and the skill set that he's got. Like,
that's a tough thing to argue.
I just can't help it. And I've got Rashee Rice way down at 29 to Worthy's 23. I don't know what's going on with Rice. I
have Rashee Rice at 26.
I think they're pushing that to next year.
And
for those that are worried, like, wondering this year, I think they are. It's looking that way.
And I'll be fair enough. I don't know what to make of that.
I don't either.
So,
like, what, like as in where you have them, you mean? Yeah,
as far as to put that, like, all that's going on into, like, a ranking, I don't know what to make of it.
It's tough.
Like, is it going to be a slap on the wrist? Is it going to miss 6 games? Is it like
they got to push it to next year? Like,
right. I don't know. So for me, just seeing what I seen from Rashee Rice last year, which was really good, I think he improves on that. Hopefully he stays a Chief, and I have him at 26.
Clearly good.
Yeah.
I moved him around a lot when I was doing this. Yeah, man. Like I started him, he was way down in the later 30s. And I'm like, that doesn't, I don't know, like, you know, you kind of step back and look at it. And I'm like, that just don't look right, man. That needs adjusted.
I'm not going to give you much argument there just because of everything you said. Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. Andy Reid's your coach. I can buy into that. You can talk me into that very easily.
And before we move on, let me just make sure. Yeah, there's not really much else. I mean, going outside of that is where Jordan Addison falls for me 2 spots after you. I've got Debo at 26. You've got him at 27. I mean,
yeah,
we're splitting hairs. I do have Devontae Adams at 31, and you've got him at 28. That's more of an age thing for me. But again, 3 spots apart, like it's nothing insane.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to running back, and I have to adjust my screen. Bear with me for 1 second.
This is ridiculous.
The whole podcast is ruined. Just get me out of here.
Just shut it down, Mitchell.
Shut the whole
we're
thing
done
down.
here.
Unprepared loser.
I can't even believe I told you my favorite PS1 game.
I said, I had a hard day, man. A long, tough day. Give me a break.
Chad was on a boat today, hanging out, living the leisure life.
Yep. Climbing buoys instead of trees.
And he made sure to send a picture.
While Ty was probably pouring concrete.
Oh, yeah. Super thoughtful of him. It was very much appreciated. I told him my feelings were hurt. He didn't care.
Yeah, yeah. And I want everyone to know, I knew this podcast was tonight, and I had a chance to drink Miller Lite all day long.
Oh,
and get paid for it.
Wow.
And here I am. I drank 2. I do think of this podcast and the people that listen. I can't be up sitting here like, that just can't happen, man. Can't be all slurring over my words. So it was a tough day.
You're telling me with those rankings you didn't drink today?
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, everyone.
That was uncalled for.
Listen, we appreciate you listening. That's it for today. Okay, let's move on to running back. My top 5. Bijan Robinson at 1, big shocker. Breece Hall at 2, Jahmyr Gibbs at 3, CMC at 4, Jonathan Taylor at 5. On over to Ty's side, Bijan at 1, Jahmyr Gibbs at 2, Breece Hall at 3, CMC at 4, and Jonathan Taylor at 5. So not a lot of discrepancy there. It's very similar
Gibbs
to
and Hall.
Yeah, it's
Switch
like our
up.
Amon-Ra and Justin Jefferson and the receiver. So, yeah, I mean, come on. Bijan's the clear-cut one. You can make I think you can make arguments for all 3 of those guys. In my opinion, I would lean Robinson, but I'm not going to scream in your face if you prefer Gibbs. That's fine. I would seriously ask you to reconsider that, but, you know, to each their own. And again, both have CMC at 4, Jonathan Taylor at 5. I mean, and we can probably move on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you take Bijan, don't be, or Breece or Gibbs. I wouldn't. Then again,
why Gibbs over Hall? Or why Hall over Gibbs?
Why Hall over Gibbs?
Yeah.
The 3-down approach.
You just think Montgomery?
He's just more of a 3-down guy, and Montgomery is there. He's gonna take away a lot less than what Braylon Allen's gonna take from Hall.
Gotcha.
That's all.
Opportunity then.
Yeah. That's good. All right, let's move on 6 through 10. My side, we've got Saquon Barkley at 6, Isaiah Pacheco at 7, Kyron Williams at 8, Devon Achane at 9, and Kenneth Walker at 10. Ty's side, we've got Kyron Williams at 6, Pacheco at 7, Devon Achane at 8, Barkley at 9, Rashad White at 10. Boy, you're going to be disappointed where I have Rashad White. Whew. So you got Rashad White at 10, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you have him?
I have got him at 15.
Oh, boy.
Yep. And it's funny who you have behind ETN, and then over on my side, he's 1 spot ahead of Rashad White. Or I'm sorry, misspoke. Funny who you have. You got him like 1 spot ahead of ETN, and over on my side, he's 1 spot behind ETN, but lower.
Fair enough.
Both of them lower. I got Pacheco at 7, and as do you. I think we both feel like he can finish there or better.
Yeah.
Could he finish worse?
I don't think so.
I'm holding strong on 7 or better, man. I'm with you.
Barring injury,
this is
absolutely not.
Right. This is the Andy Reid running back type year for him.
I think Pacheco's cutting loose.
Yeah, me too.
Stomping all over fields.
And I've got Kyron a couple spots lower than you. I can't ignore.
Right. Well, I mean, me and Kyron go way back. So.
Yeah, yeah. You guys are real boys. I'll tell you. Yeah. Barkley at 6 for me to 9 for you. It's just I had a hard time dropping him any lower than that.
I love the situation with Barkley.
You have to understand age and sustainability.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep. Fair point there. I've got Kenneth Walker at 10. You've got him a few spots lower.
Yep.
I just think, man, you're going to see this year that he is so obviously clear cut.
Yeah.
And
I think you're absolutely right on that.
But they're going to use him.
That he's the better back than Charbonnet. I don't know. With the new coaching scheme and everything, with Pete Carroll being gone, I don't know what the situation is there. I would honestly love to see them lean on Kenneth Walker.
Me too.
Because I think.
So I'm putting him here as like assuming that notion.
Gotcha.
That they are going to lean on Kenneth Walker, and it's going to be like, oh, okay, this dude is great. He was a guy I wanted to, kind of make a call for. Like he's going to have. I couldn't. It's gutsy enough with one Seattle player.
If he gets the workload, I think it's there.
Yeah.
It's just like what's the workload between him and Charbonnet, I guess is my big.
I'm afraid, but what scares me is like 60-40, and that's too close.
But why? I'm not nothing against Charbonnet, but to me, there's a clear difference there between those backs, but it doesn't seem like Seattle wants to work it that way. I don't know. I'm anxious to see how it unfolds, though. Does
it worry you putting Devon Achane in the top 10?
Yeah.
Me too. A lot. Like it really bothered me. But as I'm looking down, it's like, I don't know, man. I saw some wild stuff out of that dude last year. And
you have to respect the explosiveness, but.
And there's an age aspect.
Yeah.
There is.
And he's young. Problem with me with Devon Achane putting him there, because this is a player where I was like, ooh. Because like when I'm sitting there, I'm so high on Isaiah Pacheco, and I have him right between Isaiah Pacheco and Saquon Barkley. And I love Saquon Barkley's spot this year, but with Achane, it's like two things: injury and Jalen Wright.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a scary one to put. Like I have no stock in him. And I've had plenty of chances to get him. And I'm like, God, he's electric. He's so electric, but I really worry about him.
Stature worries me.
Yes.
And honestly, I think that's some of the worry with Jalen Wright is he's bigger.
Yep.
Better built back. I think he might do more of the running than Devon Achane. I don't think there's a world that we live in where they're not going to use Achane.
Right.
Don't get me...
Right. Well, clearly we've got him ranked in the top 10. He's going to get used. Can he hold up?
But that could be one where I could also see it slipping outside of this top 10.
Like looking at it and talking about it, like, and I'm looking at some guys between 11 and 15 right now, and it's like, do I want to drop him? But then, I look at 11 and it's James Cook, and it's like, is he top 10?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's tough.
I have James Cook at 14, behind Kenneth Walker, behind Jonathan Brooks even.
I've got him at 11. I feel like the next group that was kind of a tough one for me to rank. The top 10 wasn't that difficult outside of Achane for me. I mean, that was pretty.
Well, let's get into it. What do we got for 11?
All right, let's get into it. 11 through 15. My side, we've got James Cook at 11, Jonathan Brooks at 12, Joe Mixon at 13, Travis Etienne at 14, and Rachaad White at 15. Hopping on over to Ty's side, we've got Etienne at 11, Jonathan Brooks at 12, Kenneth Walker at 13, James Cook at 14, Trey Benson at 15. Now, Trey Benson for me is at 17. What is it about Trey Benson that puts him in that ranking for you?
His big playability.
His big playability. Do you think he sees more time this year than what I'm thinking? Or does James Conner still just rock this boat? I mean,
no. I think Trey Benson gets some work, but James Conner ain't going down quietly either. Don't get me wrong. I still think James Conner is one of the most underrated backs in this league for the things that he can do. But man, there's an explosiveness there with Trey Benson that I'm anxious to see in that Arizona offense.
Okay.
And also with Conner getting towards the end of the contract with Arizona, I think Trey Benson's going to get in there and get some work, and I think he's the back of Arizona's future. Okay. I don't think this is a guy drafted for depth. I think he's drafted to be the guy.
He's the real deal.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a damn good running back. Looking at this, I think I want to bump Jonathan Brooks. But I'm so afraid to do it just because he's done nothing, and I have seen James Cook do some good things.
Jonathan Brooks just looked like an NFL running back in college.
Yeah,
so you could watch
he really did.
12 games on Saturday, and you watch that Texas game, and you're like, that's an NFL running back.
Sure. Yeah. And, let's see. I do have Joe Mixon in my top 15. You got him outside of it.
Just.
Yeah. Listen, so let me ask you this: you're in a draft. You're faced with ETN, Rashad White, and Joe Mixon as your best backs. Who are you taking? Startup draft.
Say that again. ETN, Rashad White, and Joe Mixon.
Yep.
In a startup draft.
Yep.
Well, Rashad White by my rankings. I'll go ETN.
Okay. Yeah, it's Joe Mixon for me. I don't care about the age. I think ETN. I was reading some things today. Man, a lot of people love ETN this year. They're just in love with him, and I might look really foolish by the season's end.
I will say this, that I've come around on with ETN a little bit. There is definitely something, and I said it jokingly at first, and then kind of went back and looked at it. There is definitely something to when Jacksonville fell apart. And I'm not saying there was still some games where there was a 5 in there and it wasn't good. But the tail, if you look at the first half of the season when they were, what were they, 8-3 at one point. You're taking those running back numbers from anyone. The last few weeks are definitely way worse.
Sure. You can't argue about the first portion of the season. I mean, I don't know, man.
And they just didn't do anything to put anybody else in his way. There's no roadblocks there or anything. ETN is getting the opportunities. He's getting the work. Tank Bigsby's not going to steal hardly anything from him.
I think for me, it's just I wasn't huge on him coming out. I wasn't. And it's you add that to the up and down thing. And to me, in my head, it's just yeah, I was right. Yeah, I'm off at ETN. It's going to be a prove it thing. And let's listen. You have him at 11. I've got him at 14. I still feel like I'm reasonable in my rankings. Now, a lot of people will say, no, he should be in your top 10. You're talking about Devon A-Chain right there. Honestly, your guy to replace him. I disagree. And maybe
I would probably switch my rankings where Travis Etienne would be my 10, switching him with Rashad White.
I'll put him. That's fine. Yeah. That would be fine. I'm looking at my top 10. Outside of A-Chain, I don't know who I'm moving. Who am I moving?
I'm not moving any other ones for him. I'll move out of my rankings Rashad White from 10 to 11. But
I'm saying that I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put him in my top 10. I'm sticking to what I feel here, and that's just going to have to be that. How's that?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta hold to my thoughts here, and
I do think for these rankings, I think you have Joe Mixon too high. I have him at 16. That guy, Joe Mixon, is one of those players, and the touches are there, and I think he's got some gas left, but I don't look for it to be long term.
Probably not, and that's probably what it should be. I probably should have ETN at 13, Rashad at 14, and Joe Mixon at 15. I probably, talking to you and looking at that, I probably will. That's the thing, though. I've had opportunities and to have ETN and White, and I just pass them right off. Not necessarily for Joe Mixon, I guess. It's for receivers. Yeah, okay.
Joe Mixon's been in the league for 7 years.
I get it.
He's taken 1,571 carries alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my big discrepancy on that one. I think Mixon's high.
Probably so. But, what is it, 3 spots?
I have him at 16. I'm not sure where you have him at.
13.
13? Yeah.
Yeah.
Still too high. Get it together, Chad.
Maybe I'll make some adjustments, folks. Maybe. We'll see. All right, let's move on to running back 16 through 20. My side first here, DeAndre Swift at 16, Trey Benson at 17, Ramondre Stevenson at 18, Derrick Henry at 19, and Josh Jacobs at 20. Ty's side, Joe Mixon at 16, Ramondre Stevenson at 17, Derrick Henry at 18, DeAndre Swift at 19, Najee Harris at 20. So this is one I sat here last night and I was making adjustments. I can't bring myself to drop Jacobs much lower.
I can.
But I think I need to.
Yeah.
I do. I think I need to knock him down a few spots.
Looking at my list, if you're staring in a startup, you taking Josh Jacobs over Zamir White?
Nope.
Tajay Spears?
Nope.
Jalen Warren?
I probably won't take either of them, to be honest. But if I had to pick, probably Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to adjust that. There we go. Right on the air. Making me look foolish.
That's what I'm here for, Jed.
Thanks for agreeing. No, I do. I think I'm going to bump him down a few spots. We both have Derrick Henry in there. I was kind of surprised about that. DeAndre Swift is both inside there.
As much as I just said about the Joe Mixon stuff, I just feel like Derrick Henry's just built different.
Yeah, me too.
Like he could go into like 31, 32 and be still pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's a different beast, man. Ramondre Stevenson, we have about how do you feel about him this year?
I avoid him this year. Yeah? Just because I don't know what to make of that offense.
What if you looked at it from somebody has to make plays standpoint and Belichick's gone? Because that was pissing me off last year. It's like, dude, he is your best player. Yeah. Give him the football, please.
I think
what are we doing? Give him the ball.
For sure.
What are you doing? He's your best player. So new regime here. I kind of like him a little more than usual. Like, in the past, I haven't been super high on Stevenson, and I probably would have had him ranked a little lower. I have a little gut feeling about Stevenson this year. I think he could be a worthwhile grab.
Yeah. I think Antonio Gibson is going to surprise some people.
Really?
Yeah. I think that guy gets some touches. Definitely it's a new regime, so it's hard to say. But Gerard Mayo, was in New England when Bill Belichick was there on the coaching side also. And, man, the Patriots just always seem to have this third down pass catching back. And, with Zeke and Stevenson, it didn't really seem like Stevenson did pretty good catching passes out of the backfield, but it wasn't really wasn't Shane Vereen back there catching passes. And I think Antonio Gibson can bring some of that back. Okay. I just think he gets in there and I don't know. And then with the new regime, Stevenson's got to be getting towards the end of his contract there. I worry about that a little bit. And then where does he go? Because, man, when running backs go to free agency, it can be... Yeah. They can go get signed right into a number 2 role. You know what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah, just outside here, just kind of looking a little more beyond. I know we're kind of getting short on time. We have to move on to tight ends, but I think I need to bump Tajay Spears up, and I think I need to take Jalen Warren and get him up closer to Najee as well. So
I will back-to-back, 20 and 21.
That's exactly probably how I should honestly have it. I think I might do a little shuffling with Zamir White here too. Again, I mean, it's 300 guys, man, and we're ranking them overall and then trying to break them down by position, and it's
Najee's another one. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option.
Right.
Good chance that Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, you might get to have Jalen Warren get a full workload and see what that looks like with Najee Harris being on a new team. Maybe they stay together. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I am going to make some Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, Joe Mixon, and Jalen Warren maneuvers here. I'll probably do that tonight at some point and get that updated. So, yeah, it's good. That's why it's good to do this. It's our first time. I mean, I've had my own personal short list of rankings.
I've had thoughts in my head. I've never sat down and done rankings like this before.
Not 300 players.
No.
We're new, folks. We're new.
We don't know
Mitchell,
what to do.
Can you put the Joe Dirt thing in?
When he's on the oil rig.
I'm new. I know what to do.
All right. I think that's good for running back.
Hey, man, you done with that apple core?
Love it. What does it know? But I'm done with this fart.
Yeah.
The rest of that. So
I can quote all that. We got to stop.
Yep, me too. All right. Moving on to tight end here. So let me scroll up. My 1 through 5. Sam Laporta at 1. Trey McBride at 2. Dalton Kincaid at 3. Kyle Pitts at 4. And Brock Bowers at 5. On over to Ty's side. Sam Laporta at 1, Trey McBride at 2, Dalton Kincaid at 3, Kyle Pitts at 4, Mark Andrews at 5.
Where's Mark Andrews for you?
6.
Okay, so we're pretty much.
Do you think I was going to have him that much lower?
No, I was just curious, just because everything else was exactly the same on the list.
Well, you ought to see him in my redraft ranking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think he's rounds. I think his ADP was somewhere between round 4 and 5, and I've got him more like 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, not a whole lot of discrepancy here. We flip-flop Bowers and Andrews.
You could make the argument that we could. It's tough because it just seems like Mark Andrews had a tough time standing on the field, but you could make the argument that we could both drop Andrews a little bit, just looking at.
Sure.
But he's 5 and 6.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's. We both love Dalton Kincaid this year. He's going to be a target monster. I did read a piece though, out of Buffalo, where it seems like Curtis Samuel, your guy.
Yeah.
I think he was one of your breakouts.
Yeah.
Right? I still think, though, like, is he going to catch all the balls? You know what I mean?
I think he can catch a lot.
Yeah, I do too. But I think Kincaid's going to catch a lot as well.
Oh, at the end of the year, I still think Kincaid has the most targets on that team.
Yeah, probably so. And again, Laporta and McBride, we both have a 1 and 2. Kincaid at 3, Pitts at 4. The only discrepancy is
Come
Andrews.
on, Kyle Pitts.
For real, it's got to be time, man. If not, I'm running off the hill as fast as I can. I'm done.
I never said Kyle Pitts was going to be good this year. That's never happened.
All right, tight end 6 through 10. On my side, we've got Mark Andrews at 6, Travis Kelce at 7, Jake Ferguson at 8, TJ Hawkinson at 9, Evan Ingram at 10. Over on Ty's side, we've got Brock Bowers at 6, Kelce at 7, Hawkinson at 8, Kittle at 9, Ferguson at 10.
I like your Ferguson position better than mine, I'll be honest. Like, just hearing it read off.
Yeah, man, I keep reading great things. Like, I think he's going to hit real nice this year.
I hope
and now everybody in Dallas
I have
is happy.
so much stock in this guy.
Yeah, you do. Got a happy offense now with CD there.
Dak paid?
No, he's not paid yet.
But CD's here, so
his guy's here.
I can crank my numbers up, and somebody's paying me too.
Old Dak was an unhappy fella a couple weeks ago.
Well, I would be too.
Just like asking him where he's at with it.
So you want me to take the team to the Super Bowl? Is Jalen Tolbert and Brandon Cooks? Is that game plan?
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much said, like, I'm not okay with this. What are we doing?
Right.
Yeah, I want it done.
Did you guys see him last year? He was okay. I mean, he's pretty good.
I think they asked him, like, what, is there a sense of urgency to this? And he's like, yeah, to me there is. Yeah.
I want my number one wide receiver.
And do you blame him for crying out loud? I think Ferguson very well could play second fiddle to that. What do you think?
I'm all for it. Bring it on.
You don't think it'll be Brandon Cooks?
No.
Yeah, right? Me neither, man. Hawkinson at 9. I actually just recently moved. You had made a suggestion, and I think you're right. Listen, the injury was nasty, and that's for some reason like really scaring me off him, almost for like future years as well. Like, boy, this could really mess him up going, and it could.
Nah,
it could.
He's got that surfer guy mentality. He'll be all right. He got the long hair and stuff.
Dude is a monster.
He is.
He's a monster. So I did bump him up. I think you'll find it's worth being patient through this process, and it's looking like week 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be on the 4-game.
He is.
Yeah. Okay.
He is. So and then even then they might give him a little break.
Please do.
Week 5, and then bring him maybe week 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm not sure where their buy's at. That's something I probably should look at. That matters. Evan Ingram is outside of your top 10, but only by a spot. A lot of juice in the tank there yet, I think, especially for this year. Not a whole lot of discrepancy other than that. Man, you do have George Kittle at 9, and I've got him at 12. So with that said, are you going to make an adjustment with Kittle and Ferguson?
Yeah.
Does, when you make that adjustment, does Kittle stay ahead of Ingram?
Yeah. Slightly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I think you get a lot more consistency out of Ingram personally.
That's very fair.
Just a little spotty for my liking. A lot too spotty for my liking. Okay. Pretty close, though, overall there. Let's move on. 11 through 15.
So going back real quick to the
sure.
Hawkinson thing, their bye is week 6, so that would factor
That's
right
perfect.
into there.
That's beautiful. Week 7 return, baby.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. My side, 11 through 15. Dallas Goedert at 11. George Kittle at 12. David Njoku at 13. Pat Fryermuth at 14. Ben Sinnott at 15. Oh, my God. I'm looking at your side. It's like Evan Ingram at 11. David Njoku at 12. Dallas Goedert at 13. Pat Fryermuth at 14. And Ben Sinnott at 15. So we're both 14 and 15 with Fryermuth and Sinnott.
Both came up considerably on Sinnott in the last couple weeks.
Yes, for sure. Yep. No doubt about it. How do you feel about Fryermuth this year, man?
He's the guy that sticks out to me out of this group that could be a lot higher.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
Other than maybe Evan Ingram, just because he's on my list and he had that great year, and I don't really see anything.
Is this just a lack of pass catchers thing?
It's his quarterback the last few years, and the injury plague last season. Like when you go back to those years where he had Ben, I mean, he was right on those fringe top tight end.
Yeah.
And if you have a quarterback that's going to be able to get the ball out of there and be efficient, I think Pat Fryermuth is going to be a fringe top 10 tight end.
How hard of a time did you have with Njoku? Like, I feel like I need to bump Fryermuth ahead of him. But it feels like it's such a...
I wanted to keep moving him down because I'm telling you, at the end of last season, it seemed like every fantasy league was in when Joe Flacco was there. David Njoku was just kicking my ass. Like week in and week out, catching because you always look at the matchup before the game and it's like, okay, well, this shouldn't be too bad. And then Njoku drops 27 points and it's like, oh, cool. I'm glad that happened.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Let's do this. David Njoku or Fryermuth?
Fryermuth.
In a startup, Dynasty startup.
Yeah, I'll say Fryermuth, but like that is all. If Cleveland moves, it's Deshaun Watson. That's the problem.
Yep.
I mean,
Not Njoku.
No. And I guess I feel like Pittsburgh has done more to at least put better QB play in there than the Browns have. Because
Browns
I feel
are stuck.
No, they're so invested that it's
dude, they don't have a choice.
Honestly, if I was Cleveland, I would do what Denver did with Russell Wilson, and I would just eat the dead money, and I don't know what that would be. I'm sure a ton of money, but like, how long are you going to drag this out?
They're so afraid of looking like clowns again.
You already do.
You already do, man. You might as well cut the tie.
The only, you know what could make that very easy? Just a couple good weeks of some Jameis Winston sound bites and him doing some things out there. Like Cleveland Browns would be like, well, at least they had Jameis here. This is all right.
Yeah,
they don't care about how much money the owner spends on
CC's Pizza. Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Remember going to CC's Pizza?
Yeah.
He's all like pumped about CC's.
I love Jameis. Like, get him in there.
Yeah. Oh, what did my cousin Doug refer to him as? Is the most unintentionally funny guy in the NFL.
I love Jameis.
He's great, dude.
He just seems like a genuinely happy guy too. Like
he does. Before we move on to the last few, Njoku or Kittle?
Kittle.
Njoku or Sinnott?
In a dynasty startup.
Yep.
Njoku.
Okay. All right. Tight end 16 through 20. My side, we've got Cole Kmet at 16, Dalton Schultz at 17, Luke Musgrave at 18, Isaiah Likely at 19, and Michael Mayer at 20. And over on Ty's side, we've got Cole Kmet at 16, Isaiah Likely at 17, Dalton Schultz at 18, Luke Musgrave at 19, and Jatavian Sanders at 20. Talk to me.
Like it. Even with Bryce Young as a quarterback, you feel like he's going to find this tight end, and there's a lot of athletic ability there with Jatavian Sanders. Like, you watch some of that Texas tape. I like it. I think the guy gets a lot of touches. I think he's flying under the radar a tiny bit as far as rookie tight ends go. Yeah.
I've only got him 2 spots lower. I've got him at 22. You know, and I tell you what, I'm looking, there's not a whole lot of discrepancy here, but there is some. Let's see. No, you do have Isaiah Likely in there. Talk to me about Juwan Johnson.
I have him at 21. Where did you have him?
26, and I need to adjust it.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson, I think he's one of my sleepers this year for players that's just going to have a much better year than he's had. Athletic ability is there, and they're going to find ways to get this guy the ball this year, I think.
He'll be somewhere between 21 and 23 for me from 26.
And I think there's a path to an easy top 15 tight end season for Juwan Johnson.
Top 15 is nice, especially if you're a team running 2 tight ends. You need if he can pull off those numbers and your bye week's hit and you've got a second tight end in Juwan Johnson,
boom.
If he's a top 15 guy, he's a perfect filler for those weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me just take one quick last peek here. Where do you have Jelani Woods?
I have him at 26, right behind Chigakonkwo.
All right, there he is. So I've got him at 30.
Okay.
I gotta see a little something first.
Fair enough.
I'm not ready to roll the dice, and I wanted to cover one guy real quick before we wrap this up. Hunter Henry.
Boy, I got him way down here.
You do. That's fine. He's 28 for me. He's 31 for you. So new regime, rookie quarterback. I don't believe Jacoby Brissett got hurt. Did you see how bad that was?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Right. He got pile drove to the ground right on his shoulder, man. Doesn't look good.
No.
What's that mean for Hunter Henry if Drake May gets under center?
I don't know, man.
Is Jaheim Bell just going to be out there doing it all?
But I don't think it means what it does for a normal rookie quarterback. I think this kid wants to sling this thing. And he brought all that wide receiver help in this year. And, man, Hunter Henry is the guy that I am just done getting excited about in any way, shape, size, or form.
But I think he's going to outperform the average ADP.
Okay, so Jonnu Smith is the guy that
Jonnu Smith is gone.
He's in Miami, right?
Right.
He's a guy that I feel
got you. Sorry.
Is going to be
sneaky in the Miami offense.
Who else is there for the tight end? Saunders?
They've had a lot of who else is there, and just nothing happens. Gesicki was there. Maybe he's just not as good as we thought.
Give me Jonnu Smith over Hunter Henry.
Give me Hunter Henry over Jonnu Smith.
Where do you have Tyler?
Mitchell, mark that down because we're coming back to that one day.
Week 17, we want to know.
Which one of these guys caught 3 touchdowns? I want to know.
Right.
All right.
Oh, well, Jonnu only caught 2 touchdowns, but he had 585 yards to Henry's 424. Where do you have Tyler Conklin?
Oh, let me just go ahead and pull my rankings back up.
Yeah, please. Show's not over. I don't know what you think you're doing.
Tyler Conklin, I've got it 31.
Okay.
I
have him at 28.
He could be a sneaky one, too. We'll see.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett, not big
tight end
with the tight end, but we'll see what happens.
Aaron was like, listen, I don't have to throw it to the tight end because I'm a veteran, and that's what I do.
That's a rookie thing. I
don't do that.
Yeah, right. I think that's it. Do you have anything else for any of the positions?
Nope.
Any final thoughts?
Ready to get this season going, man. Been a long time coming, and I'm excited. Every year I still get excited for football. This year is no different. I'm so excited for the opening game Thursday night.
Yeah, me too. What are we, about 1 week out?
Yeah.
A week and a day,
At the recording of this, we're about a week out.
Yep, fantastic. All right, awesome. I am excited for that, and that is it for today's show. That was fun, Ty.
It was fun.
All right, again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us your support. Remember, our PPR Superflex Dynasty rankings are now available in the description. Just click the corresponding link, and they're also available as well on our Twitter. Also, check the description for instructions on how to get your trades graded. Join us next time where Tyler and I will preview Thursday and Friday night games, baby. It's coming. NFL kickoff is here, folks. Let me hear it, bird person. Please remember, like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube, and tell your friends. See you next time, everybody.